Hi and welcome to the beginning of our final week of studying Brazilian Portuguese with Refold. I'm super excited to start this week and see how it goes. It is day 22. Today's video is about 9 minutes and then I want to do probably about 20 to 30 minutes of homework, watching some more content and doing the homework based on today's video. And just a reminder for all of you guys watching, I'm using the program Refold, which I've linked below in the description if you want to check it out and do a similar challenge. So let's jump in and watch today's video. So today's video brought up some interesting points about using immersion content that you've already used previously, like in your own language. For example, a lot of people recommend reading Harry Potter in their target language, or basically just book series that are very popular that a lot of us read in our native language, and now we want to read in a target language. Because even if you can't understand every single thing, you at least know the general story of what you're reading. So it's easier to kind of like put these pieces together because you know, oh, this part is when this happens, this character does this thing. Maybe I don't know every single word that's happening or I don't understand every single part of this, but I can kind of fit together the pieces of what this may mean because I know the story, how it goes. I probably mentioned it in another video, I found a thriller book here that I originally read in English and it's still to this day like one of my favorite thrillers. And so when I found it at a used bookstore here, I was so excited to read it. And since it's a book that I really enjoyed, reading it again was not boring at all. And it was really nice to read in Italian. So that's an example of something you can do. But again, if you're more like an intermediate learner, because obviously you're not going to be reading long books when you're just a beginner because you won't understand anything. Anyways, today our homework is to go back and re-watch some things we've been doing interactive immersion with throughout these weeks. So I'm going to go back and watch some of the videos that I've been doing, probably one of the ones I've been watching more recently because those I really was like intensively reading and looking up words to try to make sure that I really comprehended that. So I think going back to those episodes of either like Peppa Pig or Barbie or whatever will be good because those were relatively short and I pretty much got the gist, but I'm excited to see how it goes this second time around. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today for my homework. Then I will see you all again tomorrow for day 23. Hi and welcome to day 23. In today's video, it looks like we'll be talking about how to increase comprehension. So I'm looking forward to this video because I feel a little bit like, am I behind? Am I not learning fast enough? I don't know why it's taking me longer than I thought to be able to comprehend more. I think the sounds, like I said, of Portuguese are just really difficult for me. Also because reading it, sometimes it sounds so much different than I would have expected it to, just because I feel like with Italian, pretty much always like you look at a word, you know exactly how it's pronounced. And there's not really a lot of variation because everything really follows a pattern in Italian, pretty much the same as Spanish. But with Portuguese, I'm still learning how certain letter combinations make a certain sound. And sometimes it's like not what I would have expected. So when I'm trying to match the words to the sounds, sometimes I'm like, is that really what that word sounds like? So maybe it's just taking me extra long, but that's fine. You know, we're all on our own journey with language learning. So I'm gonna see what tips they have for me in today's video and then check out what the homework will be. So I just finished watching actually a few vlogs from this YouTuber that I just found. Like she popped up on my home screen. This was a travel vlog and as I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, I love vlogs and recently I've been like really getting back into watching a lot of vlogs, whether that's travel vlogs, whatever. So I started watching and it was really good because in today's video they kind of did a recap of like all the different tools that they've given us up to this point to comprehend what we're watching. So whether that's like, you know, subtitles or like these different programs to translate subtitles while you're watching YouTube or Netflix or anything, going through it slowly and really making sure that you're taking time to understand every sentence basically. I also put the YouTube video at 0.75 speed. They had mentioned in, I don't know if it was today's video or the day before, about if you're gonna do a lower speed, don't go below 0.8, but YouTube doesn't have the option for 0.8, so I just did 0.75. And honestly, that helped a lot because I went into it today really like, okay, I'm gonna try to understand as much as I can. Like, I don't want to just breeze by and be like, whatever. Today I didn't really want to do a lot of just free flow. Maybe I will later today because it's the morning, so I have some time later today to like watch some more videos. But free flow basically is when you just like, they explained, you're just listening without really trying to comprehend every single little thing, but hopefully you can like comprehend, but not like, you know, really picking apart every sentence. But for now, I really wanted to make sure that I was understanding this video. I chose to watch a vlog today because as much as I like the children's shows, I do feel like obviously the way they speak is like very over dramatic and it's for kids and it's supposed to be engaging and funny, and that's not obviously how real people speak. I wanted to hear a real voice of a Brazilian girl speaking and not just like hearing cartoon voices. And I am really happy because I'm looking at some of her other videos right now and all of them look very interesting. So that's obviously important too, to find content that actually interests you. And as I said, I'm really into vlogs. So I think later today I'll probably still watch some more of her videos too. Maybe do some free flow, some like more intensive. I was pretty happy though. I actually understood a lot when I was watching her videos. I think because of the combination of like the 0.8 speed and also vlogs, you know, like they show and tell, and it's usually pretty easy to at least guess the context if you can't figure out exactly what they're saying. But yeah, I was pretty happy because I think yesterday and starting this week I was a little discouraged that I wasn't understanding enough, but I think today went pretty well. So I also have to do my flashcards and my other little things that I have on my habit tracker today, like my minimums, I guess they're called. So I will go ahead and do that, and then I will see you all tomorrow. Hello everyone and welcome to day 24. It's a very exciting day today because finally today is the day that is entitled grammar. So if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I've been really eager to start looking at grammar just to get a better understanding of everything that I'm watching, reading, listening to. So I'm very, very curious to see what they have to say in today's video about what exactly they want us to be studying with grammar. And I'm going to watch today's video. It looks like it's about 13 minutes. And then I'll take a look at the homework, do my typical habits, so reviewing vocab, watching some videos, working on pronunciation, stuff like that, and see if they want us to add anything new to our homework after this grammar lesson. So let's get into it. Just finished today's video. It was very interesting and talking about different ways to start incorporating grammar into your study routine. And they also did mention that like if you're not ready to start grammar, obviously you don't have to. And I think it's really important to realize that like no matter what course you do, what kind of roadmap you're taking, you still have to always adjust things to what you like. Learning a language doesn't have to be a certain way. There's really no right or wrong way. Every single course, every single roadmap, advice, whatever, everyone will have their different opinions about how you should learn a language, but it's not like one way is right or wrong. Maybe one way for you isn't as fun as another way. So make sure to always adapt advice and materials and stuff to you, because especially if you're not learning a language in a school, you can choose how you want to learn a language. You don't have to do something that someone said worked really well for them if for you, you hear it and you're like, that sounds not fun at all. Like you don't have to do that. That's the nice thing about self-studying, is you can decide how you want to study. So they did give us some good tips about how to start learning grammar. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I am really looking forward to diving in. They did provide a resource that is like a Brazilian Portuguese grammar guide. I'm looking at the website right now, and it has a bunch of stuff listed out, like verb conjugations, nouns, articles, pronouns, adjectives, prepositions, comparative superlatives, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that they provided this resource where everything is all in one place. They recommended just choosing one thing to focus on and then just noticing that in whatever material or content that I'm watching. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, as tempted as I am to like look through all this stuff. And then, as I mentioned, do my usual studying, but I'm very excited that today grammar is beginning. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Hi and welcome to day 27. If my face looks weird and shiny, it's because I just did my morning skincare. So I am starting off the morning right away with doing my studying. I know the last few days I did just like some quick clips. I didn't really check in with you, but again, it's because I figured that like probably some of these days will be kind of repetitive. But since the last 2 days I didn't, I figured today I would take you along with me. I did already watch today's video, and it was talking about basically building your habits for language studying and how you can make sure that they're achievable and realistic and things that you can do long term. I am happy that yesterday we set up Toggle because that way we can track our time of how much we've been studying and what we've been studying, because I think in the future that will be really helpful to see, you know, like the breakdown of how much time you're spending doing certain immersion or, you know, vocab, stuff like that, to see like maybe where you're lacking or what you need to do more of. So I think that's a really good tool and I'm looking forward to using that. I think it's something that would also be cool to use in my Italian studying. And also, like, for example, today's homework says the total time is about 50 minutes. So I think for me now it's getting a little bit more difficult to figure out how to get my studying in, because in the beginning I could sit down and do these sessions, you know, it was like 20-30 minutes, which is definitely doable, whereas sometimes devoting like an hour can be difficult, and I'm a person who I like to go through the things I need to do for the day and get them done all at once. We were kind of going over examples of study formats, like how you study, how you can study throughout the day. So you're not doing everything in like a 1 hour block. You know, so for example, like if you have time at the end of the day, you can watch a TV show or find a way to review some vocab while you're on the bus, waiting in line, whatever. Like there's little moments throughout the day where you can fit in language studying. So I think I'm still trying to figure out how I can fit in my studying for the day and not have to do it all at once, because it can be difficult, like, you know, working and other stuff you need to do throughout the day, to find like a 1 hour time block. That's something that I just need to get better at. I need to develop a habit. Probably right now, I think I want to review vocab and maybe look at one of the new grammar topics on that website. And then spending time with the language is something I'll probably do later this afternoon or tonight, because I have some stuff I need to get done today. And then I think that I'll have some free time in the afternoon to just like chill, watch a show, or watch like a YouTube video, that kind of stuff. So that's how I think I'm gonna split it up today, and I will track it on Toggle. So let's do vocab and grammar. I decided today I wanted to look at verbs because I wanted to, for the grammar. My mind is all over the place. First conjugation, regular AR verbs. I'm very thrilled to recognize that it looks very similar to Spanish. Like when I'm looking at the chart, the endings are very, very similar to Spanish endings for AR verbs. That was exciting to know, and now I'm kind of curious to see the other conjugations. Just indicative, present indicative. Very similar. Wow, this makes me feel very good. It's also like unlocking Spanish stuff that I haven't studied in forever. So, because I mean, I remember going through all these conjugation endings like in school when you were learning Spanish, you know, of course, like I'm gonna continue doing my grammar. Hey, so it's a few days later and I actually passed day 28, 29, 30. The final day was a reflection day, and they had a few other days sharing some previous learner success stories, as well as tips about how to continue studying after these 30 days. So I think that was really helpful to give you a guide of how you can continue instead of just being like, okay, the 30 days are up, have fun. So today will be my reflection on the whole 30 days in the program as a whole. First off, I will say that it was a really beneficial program because it definitely demonstrated a lot of things that I had learned on my own just by like trial and error about learning languages, and things, you know, like immersion especially is something that I kind of had to discover on my own, because I initially started learning Italian basically the way I did in school because I just didn't know how to learn languages otherwise. So I think it's really beneficial, and I wish I had known about this sooner, because like I said, I had to basically discover a lot of these things that the course was teaching on my own. If this is something I had sooner, then I wouldn't have to go through all of my own trial and error to discover that. So if you are someone who's relatively new at language learning, I think it's really beneficial to learn all of these types of things. They also provided a lot of really great resources and tools that I had never heard of, so that was another huge benefit as well. Learning all these different tools that I can use to help my immersion process. Also just things like the habit tracker and tracking your time in Toggle is something that I didn't think about, but I find really useful. And I think even when they were sharing learner stories and the learners who had been using these time trackers were able to track, you know, how many hours it took before they could start understanding certain things. Like, that's a really cool thing to see, to be able to really visually map out your progress. As far as the progress I made, it does feel slower than, I don't even know if I can say normally, but I think it's just I haven't started learning a new language in a long time. As I mentioned in a previous video, I think this method is a little bit hard to start, like if you're starting from zero. I do think it's a little bit better if you at least have some knowledge of the language, because it can be really frustrating when you don't understand anything. I'm able to piece together some stuff because of my Spanish and Italian knowledge, but it definitely, I think, led to a lot of frustration, the fact that I was starting from zero, and I can't imagine if I was doing a language that wasn't related to the language they already know. And then another thing, I think it really taught me that, again, everyone has a different way of how they like to learn languages, and I think this program is really beneficial and really teaches you effective ways to acquire a language. But I think as far as speaking and grammar, I think you can start that a little sooner, especially if you're curious to know grammar. Like, I know a lot of people kind of demonize grammar as like this terrible, boring thing. It's not fun. But I've seen also some comments on my last videos of people, like certain people who say, oh, actually, I find grammar interesting or whatever. If that's you, that's fine. You don't need to just say, oh, grammar sucks just because everyone else says that. Sure, it can be really boring, but sometimes it is interesting. It's like interesting to figure out the patterns and the like mathematics part of a language. So some people enjoy that, and if you do, that's fine. I think for me, I was kind of frustrated not knowing any grammar before I just started listening to things. So I think it's something that I still would like to have at least some foundation of like grammar stuff, or, you know, at least looking at it. I don't need to be actively studying grammar before I can even understand the language, but at least having some knowledge of it, I would probably introduce that a little bit sooner. And same with like pronunciation and speaking. You know, they don't really encourage that earlier on because you don't even know what you're saying. You can't form a sentence. But as you saw in my videos, I liked practicing my pronunciation a lot just because the sounds of Portuguese were very different from anything that I've studied before. So again, if you have that curiosity, I highly recommend altering it a little bit to make sure that you are enjoying what you're doing. And if you have a certain curiosity about a language, but the program is like, oh, don't do that yet, you can like mold and form the program in the way that you want. Because I, as I mentioned, was like really, really eager to start looking at grammar. And once I did, it was very satisfying and I really enjoyed it. As you saw in yesterday's part of the video, I was doing like conjugation online. And it was crazy because I had just reviewed a little bit of the conjugation for AR verbs, present indicative, like literally looked it over for a few minutes. And I got like a good score on that, which is crazy. And I think it's just because like it was very, very similar to Spanish, and it really like unlocked that Spanish that I haven't studied in a long time. But it's one of those things where it's like the grammar I probably could have looked at sooner just because I already had previous knowledge of the other languages related to it. So I don't think it would have been that like stressful or crazy to add in. You are in control of the way you learn a language, and you can take ideas and inspiration from different programs or people or books or methods, whatever, but ultimately you will want to create a program that works for you. So overall, do I recommend Refold? I do. I do think it's a really good program. I think it taught me a lot. It gave me a lot of new resources. And like I said, it's something I wish I had sooner. So if you are interested in trying it out, you're interested in trying this 30-day program that I did, you can check it out with the link below. And they do have also Anki decks and some other different things and resources on there, not necessarily just the program. And then probably all of you are wondering, am I going to continue studying Brazilian Portuguese? I think for right now, I'm going to put it on pause because I don't really have the time to commit to studying a new language. I think it is good because Refold has really remotivated me to get back into Italian studying, which like obviously my Italian level now is very high, but I still am trying to break past that intermediate plateau. So I've been trying to use a bunch of things that I learned on this course to incorporate into my Italian studying, because since living here, I haven't been actively studying like I used to, but I do want to put more time and effort into doing things daily to really improve my vocabulary, to work on more difficult grammar constructions, things that I've kind of been like avoiding. I think I'm gonna focus more on that.
And I do feel like Brazilian Portuguese is very interesting, but I think it's something that I will revisit again in the future and not necessarily continue studying every single day. So I think for now, I'm just going to refocus on really getting to an advanced level of Italian and feeling very comfortable with the language, because I never considered myself to be someone who can study multiple languages at once. I don't know how people do it. I already feel overwhelmed with 2. There's people out there who are studying like 6 at a time. I don't know how you do it. But I did really enjoy studying the language. I think it's a very beautiful language. Like I said, in the future, I would love to revisit it when I have the time. But for now, we're back focusing on Italian and really getting that to an advanced, comfortable level. Thank you so much for watching this series of videos. I really hope that you enjoyed it and getting a peek into this 30-day refold program. Again, if you are interested, I have it linked below. If you want to check it out and do a challenge for yourself, I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and I will see you all again very soon.